Hello everyone, bringing you the Mannequin of the Month for May 2023 today. And the topic we're talking about today was of course chosen via a poll over on Patreon. And what we're talking about specifically is the kit of a British infantryman serving in Cyprus in the early 1960s, specifically on patrol in the hill country of Cyprus. Now, I'm not going to get into the background of the situation in Cyprus in any detail here. I can recommend going and watching a documentary which is freely available on YouTube, part of a documentary series called End of Empire, and there is an episode of that dealing specifically with Cyprus, what was going on in Cyprus in the 1950s and 1960s. Very interesting to watch, and I can highly recommend that. Give a bit of background to what we're talking about here. The kit we have is basically, in terms of design at least, Second World War vintage. Some exceptions to that, and we'll talk about that as we look at this in more detail. We'll start at the top as we normally do with the kit and work our way down. We'll talk about the headgear first of all. What we have here is the standard issue British cap comforter. This of course is essentially a piece of knitted cloth, a knitted tube basically sewn together at each end and then folded inside itself, and you end up with a cap like this. And this is something I've covered on the channel previously. We've talked about how this is folded up to make a cap like this. A very comfortable and very practical piece of headgear, and they were typically worn on patrol in Cyprus at this time. The basic uniform we have here consists of a 1950s issue shirt, which was still the standard issue shirt in the early 1960s prior to the 1964 pattern being introduced. This is of Korean War vintage, basically the design, and you can see the collar of that poking out at the top here. And over that we have a heavy wool jersey. Now this particular example is of Second War vintage in terms of design. You have no reinforcement around the ends of the cuffs here and no reinforcement on the back of the elbows. In some photographs you can see there are still examples of these floating around. They're less common by this time, but they were worn alongside the later design, which is the 1952 pattern introduced during the Korean War, which added a reinforcement piece to the back of the elbow and reinforcement to the end of the cuffs. That's the predominant pattern seen at the time, but you do see examples of these as well, so I thought I'd include this as a point of interest to show this earlier kit still in use at the time. The web equipment is of course the 1937 pattern. The 1958 pattern had been introduced by this point, but it takes a long time to transition over from the existing web equipment to the new pattern, and in Cyprus at the time the standard issue web equipment was still the 1937 pattern. We have the braces coming down here to support the basic pouches, and of course the waist belt here. The basic pouches in this instance are both late production examples of the Mark III. This is a late Second World War dated example, and this is a 1953 dated example, and you can actually see there's a difference in manufacturing here of how high they sit on the belt just from where the hooks have been stitched on the back. Just a point of interest I noted when putting this set of equipment together. So we have the two basic pouches there obviously carrying ammunition in those. In place of the haversack on the back, we actually have the Bergen rucksack. This is Second War vintage Bergen rucksack. They were still being manufactured into the 1960s, slightly modified in terms of the colour and so forth, but basically the same design. And that's something we'll talk about going forward on the channel, no doubt, as well in more detail. We have a Second War vintage Bergen rucksack carried on the back here. Fairly common to see, obviously, for carrying the loads necessary for the patrols in the hill country of Cyprus. One detail you can see of that here are the shoulder straps coming round, webbing section over the shoulder here, attached onto the rucksack here and here with leather straps, which could mean it can be adjusted in. So these can be tightened down to adjust the length of the shoulder strap. And you have a tail stitched onto the front of each shoulder strap here. These were initially intended for carrying the utility pouches down the front from the shoulder straps of the Bergen rucksack. Not a feature which was used particularly commonly, but that's what these are for. Obviously we'll talk about the rucksack at some point going forward in more detail in its own video. That's the front of the mannequin. We'll start turning this around now and have a look at some of the other details, and obviously have a look at the rucksack in a bit more detail as well. Looking at the right hand side of the mannequin here, if I lift the arm of the jersey heavy wool out of the way, you can see here we have the water bottle carried round on the hip in the 1937 pattern carrier, this particular example being one of the sleeve type carriers, as you can see there. And this is still the enamelled felt covered water bottle, really an antiquated design by this point, but still in use. So we have that carried round on the hip here. In the early 1960s, the new plastic 1958 pattern water bottle was just coming into service, obviously for use with 1958 pattern. And unless you were issued 1944 pattern, this was still the standard issue water bottle. So very much about to be replaced, but that's how long this lasted, right into the 1960s. So we have that here carried around on the hip. And then you can also see the side profile of the rucksack on the back here. You can see one of the side pouches here with the buckle and strap securing the flap there. And then we have a carrying strap here, which could be used to carry an external load. that's just been tied up out of the way to stop it flapping around too much. And you can also see, actually, if I lift that out of the way again, you can see the frame coming around over the hips here, the metal frame there, and how the shoulder strap attaches down onto that there, as you can see. There are also other attachment points, which we'll see as we move around, which had removable straps. None of those in use in this instance. As you can see, there's no external load carried here, just a load carried within the main compartment and the side and front pouches on the rucksack. We'll move this around now and have a look at the rucksack in a bit more detail. So moving around to look at the back, we can see details of the rucksack here. You can see this is a very large rucksack for the time. It allows for the carriage of a lot more kit than you could carry in both the pack and the haversack of the 1937 pattern equipment. We have the main compartment here with a flap, and there's a draw cord underneath here. Obviously this is something we will have a look at in more detail going forward on the channel. The straps have been secured and rolled to stop them from flapping around. They're very long so that you can carry a load perhaps under the flap or under the straps at the front. So just rolled up there to keep them out of the way. You can see the other strap on the side here for carrying external load. That's been tied up out of the way as well. We have a front compartment here and obviously the two side pockets, and this is quite heavily loaded. These were extensively used in Cyprus around this time for men on patrol in the hill country to be able to carry the sort of loads that were required for that the duration of patrols they were engaged in, to carry the kit necessary for the operations. So that's what we have on the back here. As you can see, second war vintage, still in use at the time, and as I say, updated versions of these had been manufactured in the 1960s. That's something we'll talk about a little bit more in a future video at some point, I'm sure. And looking at the left hand side here, there's not a huge amount more to see. It's basically a mirror image of the other side of the rucksack, as you can see here. Strap tied out of the way, side pocket there. Not a lot more to say about this. There's no bayonet carried or anything. I've omitted that, basically based on the photographs I've seen from the time. And you can see there that just the webbing belt coming around there, so no load carried on the web equipment on this side. And that's the left hand side of the Mannequin. So I do hope you found it interesting looking at this. It's been very nice to put this together. It's something a bit different to have on the Mannequin. And as I say, I do hope you found it of interest as well. I'm very pleased that the rucksack has not caused this to topple over backwards. Obviously it's very lightly loaded, just padded out. But it's one of the problems with these torso mannequins is they are not brilliant for putting a heavy load on the back. And I was concerned this wouldn't stand up on its own, and it has. So I'm very pleased with that, just to note that here at the end. If you have found it interesting looking at this and you'd like to see more from the channel, please do consider subscribing if you haven't already. And whether you're newly subscribing or you've previously subscribed, please do make sure you hit the little bell, the notification button down below. That will of course alert you when I upload future videos. If you really like my uploads and you would like to support the channel, you can. Both Patreon and PayPal are linked down below. And as ever, a massive thank you to everybody who supports the channel using those two methods. It really is greatly appreciated. Thank you all very much indeed. If you'd like to vote on the topic that's going to be covered in Mannequin of the Month each month, it's the Corporal tier on Patreon which gives you that option. That's where the poll can be found to vote on what's going to be talked about each month. If you'd like to follow the channel on social media, you can. Facebook, Instagram and Twitter are all linked down below, and there will of course be photographs of this posted up over there if you'd like to see those. And if you'd like to get in touch with me but you don't really use social media, there is of course an email address down there as well. But that's everything for this video, so until next time, bye for now.